Hi everyone, we're back with another Technique Tuesday. Today I have Devin here to help out, and we're going to look at repeating mace this week. And I want to go over a couple of things that we were going over earlier tonight in class. Now, there is another video that we released about 3 or 4 years ago that covers this topic. And in that video, we went in a little bit of a different direction. We were exploring circular motion and some of the possibilities in adapting the pattern that you're learning within repeating mace into other situations. Today, we're going to look at footwork, which we did look at in the other video, but we're also going to look at power mechanics. And I want to go over a very simple power pattern from White Crane that you can be practicing that will help you to amplify the power within this technique. So really quick, I just want to touch on the footwork because it's something that trips a lot of people up. And so there's a varying degree to which you can perform this footwork step depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Now, I don't mean within this technique. I mean taking the footwork from this technique out of the technique. You might see this particular movement performed in different ways. So let me give you an illustration. Actually, first, let's just quickly look at the technique, what we're going to do, and then we'll discuss where people kind of fall short. So he's coming in the push, and I'm going to cross step back. I'm on the ball of my foot, and I'm going to unwind out of that position. So it kind of puts me in a spring-loaded position where I can unwind and I can catch him with our initial blow. But here's the thing. I want to be in a fighting position facing him. I want to be facing my opponent. I don't want to end up in a side horse stance, twisted up, trying to perform this technique. And that's where a lot of people end up when they're first starting to perform this movement. Again, because there's a varying degree upon which you can perform this particular footwork step, and you have to be very precise in your initial movement. So let's take this to a larger scale, because what's happening here is we're using this step to rotate, right? I'm facing you right now, and we'll do this together. We're facing you. So if I step diagonal, let's just rotate 45 degrees to start. If I step diagonal and back, and now I unwind, I should be in a fighting position 45 degrees from 12 o'clock. And that's really what we're trying to do when we deflect our opponent's push. We could do this, and like I said, we could make it a larger scale movement. So now instead of stepping back to larger than we are sideways, we can change the dimension of our step so that now we're stepping sideways more than we are backwards. In fact, I'm pretty much not stepping back at all. And when I say pretty much, I mean I'm not stepping back at all. I'm stepping sideways, and when I unwind, now I'm 180 degrees from where I started. And this is a movement that perhaps you have. We have it in a couple of forms that we teach a little bit later on in our curriculum. So again, that's a step that trips up a lot of people. So if Devin comes back, we want to get that step correct. So now I'm facing 45 degrees here, so I'm going to be angled off when I'm done, so that I'm pretty much facing 45 degrees from my initial frame of reference. He comes in the push, I do my deflection, I'm in that wound up position, which is going to feed momentum. It's going to allow me to connect a lot of power into this initial move, which by the way could be a middle knuckle strike. It's what we like doing. Some people do a crane's beak. I've seen some people do a hammer strike. You have options there. It's a pattern. We're not going to get too caught up in what strike you should or shouldn't be delivering. So we catch him here, and now we're in position to deliver our back fist. So again, come in and push. We'll do it one more time just to look at the technique, and then we're going to talk about a basic pattern that you can use to help develop more power within the technique. So he pushes. I have my deflection, making sure I'm at or above the elbow here. I don't want him to roll the elbow on me. I come in and I strike here, and then I rotate back with our back fist. Now, very simple pattern. We've actually already looked at this in a previous video as well. Again, I think this one goes back 2 or 3 years. Students are holding short rods, a White Crane weapon, and they're just practicing rotation, and they're practicing establishing a connection between their waist and their arms. What we're going to do now is the same thing empty-handed. We're going to rotate this way and rotate this way. So if you've seen Karate Kid, this is like the paint the fence, or paint the house. The fence is up and down. So the house side to side. We rotate this way and rotate back. The key here is you need to develop explosiveness in the waist. You want a strong connection between your arm movement and the movement of your waist rotating back and forth. And if you train it, you can develop that explosiveness in the waist and that connection with the arm, and thus the explosiveness will carry over into the arm, and you're going to hit with more mass behind your strike. So now if we step back into repeating mace, you'll see, as the students were working on tonight, that as he pushes, I come in middle knuckle, and then I'm going to rotate back in with that connection and a tremendous amount of power. And so that's the pattern that we were working on. That's your technique. Get a pad, get a punching bag, as I had students tonight working with pads, but get something that you can hit and just start, to really see the effect that it has. Try to hit as hard as you can with just your arm in motion, and then try to hit as hard as you can connecting your waist to the movement. You'll see a substantial increase in power. So there you go. That's this week's Technique Tuesday. Thanks for helping out, Devin, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.